remember that there's no class on Monday because it is Memorial Day, Indianapolis 500. We got the whole thing going. And then I don't know how many of you have actually looked at the PowerPoints for Chapter 10, but if you look at the little outline of what's there, you're going to see what?
Two slides.
Observation of instruments and review of the systems approach, which is, so basically there's one deal there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about observing group process, and then I'm going to give you some time to get the groups over there. So, always benefit from periodic observation and feedback. Watching the camera, this is cool. Yeah, and we get feedback. One of the things that I very often do is videotape myself. And if you ever watch yourself videotape?
Yeah.
And it's good, right? You see you do things that you didn't know you were going to do, and some of the things, sometimes they're embarrassing. You see you doing things that you didn't know that you did, and everyone else knows that you did that, but you didn't, those kinds of things. So this is good. One of the things that I've done historically over the years have participated in something called communication audits. And what communication audits are a way of going into organization and assessing the communication strengths and weaknesses of organizations. And what we use is a lot of different types of instruments that ideally are uniform and you can compare them one to the other. Some of you probably have evaluated instructors, right? We all have the same little form, and if we did the right statistical analysis, we would know how we're doing in comparison to other instructors on those things. It really doesn't have any value unless you have something to compare it to, right? And so one of the things we use are matrices or grids, and this is the all-purpose discussion rating scale, and you do characteristics, 1 to 5, and all those kind of things. These kind of work. So what I put on the board is one that's a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more usable. Let's say you want to identify the best candidate for a job. Now, I believe what you should do is establish the criteria for the selection of the candidate prior to advertising for the job. So you develop a profile of the ideal candidate, because you don't want to develop a profile after you know who the candidates are, because you're likely to skew you to making a bad decision. So in this case, what I've done is I've said, we've got a Master's of Arts degree, we have 5 years experience, we have oral communication skills and written communication skills. Those are things that we like for this candidate to have. And then what we do is we compare those things to each other. We have to give one of them a value of 10, and then all of the rest of them comparative values. So in this case, I gave the Master's of Arts degree 10, I gave the 5-year experience a 5, the oral communication skills, same as the 5-year experience 5, and the written communication skills 3. Now we could have, obviously, a matrix that is much larger than this, but this one works to explain the concept, right? And then what we do is we look at our top 4 candidates. And if you notice, the first guy has an MA, so we gave him a 10, or I gave him a 10. He matches the criteria. The second guy has person, not a guy, person, the best woman for the job, whoever she may be. We're going to give her a 7 because she's got a bachelor's degree. The third person has an associate arts degree. We're going to give them a 3. And the final person has a PhD. Why did I give him an 8? What? He's overqualified. In a lot of cases, PhD stands for piled higher and deeper, and sometimes we don't want these people. People with PhDs very often are way too focused and not as general as people with master's degrees. And so, if we wanted a PhD, we should have asked for a PhD. Okay? So the next thing you see, we have experience. Now, if you notice, our AA person, the only reason that we're really considering them is because they have the 5 years experience in the field, whatever that field might be. The PhD has been busy pursuing the degree, doesn't have much experience. The person with the bachelor's degree has some experience, and the person with the master's has some experience, comparable experience to the PhD guy. Communication skills, this guy with the AA degree is, a great communicator, knows how to talk. The master's degree is pretty good. The bachelor's degree, not so much. The PhD knows how to write, can't talk. Right? So, but the PhD can write. That's why we gave him a 10. This AA degree person can't write. The bachelor's degree can write, and the master's degree can write almost as well as the PhD. Right? So then what we do is, so we've got those numbers, and then we multiply them. Right? So 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 7 is 70. You get the idea. If all of you can do math, that's why you take those math classes, so that you can apply math. And then, while I can multiply, I can't add. What you would do, and so you might do this, you would add up the 100, 120, 160, 181. So I can add. But I'm not going to add all of them. So this person would have a score of 181. The rest of these people, I would guess, huh? About the same?
2 and 3 a little bit more.
2 and 3 a little bit more? But you would be able to, in fact, then what? Evaluate based upon some objective criteria. Now, realistically, all of these candidates probably could do the job, right? But very often, it's not so much about who can do the job as being able to justify why you selected one candidate over another, and having numeric kind of thing is a really positive way to basically justify your decision. Now, ideally, what you're going to do is you're going to make the best decision, and you will then be able to quantify why that was a good decision. Now, this is important not only in terms of selecting candidates, but evaluating group process, because we would like to be able to quantify it in some way so that we can basically say, this is good, this is better, this sucks, or whatever it might be, so we would be able to compare it to other groups. Our group is more effective because, if you look at the last group project, this is really a way of the process that we're going to use to evaluate it by distributing money among the groups, or theoretical money among the groups, will allow us then to be able to justify why one group was more effective than another group. Money is a way of keeping score, isn't it? Who's the best? Okay. Males with money, are they more attractive than males without money? Given the choice of dating a rich guy with a house in the valley, or a guy that has a bus pass, which one are you going for? Huh? Yeah, go figure.
Why?
Huh? The bus pass?
No, I'm just saying.
I got an apartment.
Got an apartment. Yeah. Better know how to use it. Yeah. All right. So we got the all-purpose discussion ready here. Well, then we have interaction diagrams. And one of the things that we know, if you observe groups, you very often can tell something about the groups as well as the group members if you use what we call an interaction diagram. And an interaction diagram basically says who speaks to whom, how many times, and who responds. Now, what's missing from this one that's on the textbook that's on the slide is that we would like to have how many interactions then go out to the public, or out to the group as a whole. And we know that more powerful people make more statements to the group as a whole, less powerful people don't respond. If you look at this diagram, just kind of looking at it, Elizabeth talks to Yeltsin and Freya, whoever the hell they are, but no one responds to Elizabeth. It's like she talks, no one talks to her. What does that tell you about Elizabeth? She's not too effective. But Freya, everyone talks to Freya, right? They make all these statements. Now, either that person, is like the information gatherer, or she's like so out of line that people keep saying, shut up, or whatever. One of the problems with this is that it doesn't